Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next session of The Alchemists. Just going to get right into it here. So I think it's probably been about a day since your encounter with the demon. The bandits who had tied him up, that you had attacked and staved off from this seemingly helpless man, who was then revealed to not quite be so helpless. He revealed some interesting points about Igram's past, things that the party may not quite have realized he was connected to. But after leaving, the demon there more to make Igram's life miserable rather than kill anybody. You have escaped for now, heading through the old world up towards Ashton. Is from. And as you guys are still going through the old world, still have a little bit more travel to go before you arrive. Igram, I want you to tell me what sort of meager resting spot you've managed to find in the old world that you've just finished resting from his mind right now as they travel.
We were able to find this kind of underground, like a cellar of a building that stood long ago. In this cellar, it was kind of a respite from the elements, the winds, and the strange creatures and strange happenings of the older world. It was dank and dark and smelly, but it's shelter nonetheless.
And as you're there in this cellar, managing to find a brief point of, without too much problems, at least something that you can defend. Tallow, what's going through your mind right now as you're so close to your hometown, the place that you grew up, the place that you lived all the way up until you awoke from your shadow sleep?
So as dank as this little cellar is, it's some semblance of sort of familiarity and home to Tallow, because these are the kind of spots that he's mostly lived his whole life, in the underground of Ashton. And as they're kind of getting closer, his hopefulness and sort of confidence that seems to have come through him since the doctor pressed that flame against his chest and purged some shadow from him. He feels like a new man, so it's a sort of bittersweet homecoming, because he's not sure, as Ignatius keeps pointing out. Hundreds of years may have passed since he actually last walked in Ashton, so he's hopeful but apprehensive that anyone he knew will be alive, but he's hoping to find his brothers from his crew. And get answers for himself and his companions here as well. This is going to be the big answer of, have hundreds of years passed, or are we still sort of around the same time? Is there going to actually be hope for Igram to find his family? For Tallow to find his? And he's just curled up in a corner, again, comfortable despite the dankness, and just is reading through his ritual book that the doctor set him on the path of being able to sort of start piecing together, just practicing his reading, basically.
Awesome. And how about Kira? What is Kira up to at this moment? Finally getting a brief respite and much needed rest, but still looking forward towards the coming moments.
Yeah, Kira was definitely in need of a rest. She was pretty beat up from the day before, but she was able to lick her wounds and come back to a little bit of excitement, little bit of glimmer in her eye. And Ashton is important to her because that's where she was taken from when she was a young girl. And so, you know, she hasn't been here for, I mean, who knows how long it's been since they've come back, but at least she hasn't been here since she was a young girl. So all she can hope for here is to maybe recognize where she grew up, and who knows, if it hasn't been too long, perhaps even try to find her brother that she lost. May still be alive.
And then finally, Ignatius, the renegade lone wolf.
Yeah, so Ignatius sitting by himself, of course. It's kind of staring back and forth at the people he's found himself allied with. Really just feeling kind of confused and like not sure what direction he should take. He feels comfortable like being with the group, but like he because it's safer for him, but it's also he feels like dangerous at the same time. Yeah, he's a bit of an edgelord, I guess, right now. But he at least hopes to find some answers about this, even if he can't figure out anything of himself. Learning about the fate of like Tallow and Ashton and all of that will give him a sense of how bad this whole shadow thing could be.
Perfect. And with that, the four of you are awake. And the floor is yours.
Oh, let's get some breakfast and get moving. I'll see if we can scrounge any food. Maybe there's some berries or quail eggs we can try to find out here. Anyone like to join?
Yeah, I could use a breath of fresh air. Igrim kind of says as he kind of, he's kind of stretching and pops his neck and his shoulders after a really cramped sleep, essentially. Kind of just flexes his shoulders that are big and broad and stuff, and grabs the spear that was kind of leaning against the wall and just heads out along with you.
You be careful out there, Tello says as he looks up from his ritual book, and just reaches into his pocket and pulls out some sort of stale food stuff he always keeps in his pockets, and just chews on that as he looks back down and keeps reading his book. Feeds a little bit to his pet mouse on his shoulder.
Can you two get a fire started while we're out? She kind of looks over at Ignatius.
I see. I just have to do everything. That's fine. I got it. Don't worry.
Tallow puts his, with a bit of a sigh, he closes his book and tucks into his pack and sort of climbs to his feet and sort of reluctantly comes over, sort of sheepishly comes over to Ignatius to sort of, he does that thing where he's hovering to see if he can help make the fire, but it obviously doesn't need to because Ignatius just can light it straight away. So, but he's sort of hovering around Ignatius, like maybe picking up a bit of kindling here and there, making a little pile.
Yeah, and I guess Kira will go out with Igram, start looking for any sort of food sources.
Ignatius would actually ask Tallow to see his book, probably in some kind of like snooty way. Be like, "So, do you need help with that? I could take a look, maybe give you some insight."
Oh, the book. Yeah, no, I've been coming along pretty well. I've been reading through it myself, actually. So, yeah, once I've finished it, I'll let you know how interesting it is.
Didn't you say you couldn't read?
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm picking it up.
All right, I mean, I'm just trying to help, but that's fine. If you got it, you got it.
Sure. And he kind of turns away, and I think he would actually take it out of his pack again, and just sort of thump it down on like a tree stump that maybe is next to where Ignatius is setting things up, and then goes back to collecting some kindling. Just sort of leaving it unattended there, intentionally.
Ooh. Ignatius would look and see if he has like a good chance to like take a look at what's inside without you seeing.
It's pretty obvious that he left it there intentionally for you to have a look at, but if you wanted to do it sneakily, then
Oh, I see. Yeah, so I guess Ignatius would just like flip open a page and then just kind of start flipping through the pages and see what he could gather from it.
Yeah, and I'd say with the knowledge that you have, I mean, feel free to, Jeff, if you're happy to allow this, or if you want Ignatius to make a roll. Otherwise, I'm happy to divulge which spells are in the ritual book.
Yeah, I figure Ignatius, with his knowledge of magic and stuff, it wouldn't be that difficult to like read, especially if they're like more basic spells.
Yeah, and I suppose they'd probably say what a nice heading what it is. It's just that Tallow can't read that. So, so in there, as you're looking through Ignatius, you would see the spells and details and components and everything required to cast the rituals of Unseen Servant and Find Familiar.
I'd do a roll, I guess, or I would check some kind of check to see if the mouse that Tallow keeps with him is a familiar or not. I guess maybe Arcana.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, Arcana would work.
22.
I'll let Tallow answer that, but
So no, you don't get the sense that the mouse that Tallow carries with him is probably on his
It's out
shoulder
of
at the
the
moment.
ordinary.
No, so doesn't seem to be a familiar.
All right. In
Just
that
a
case,
regular old mouse.
he'd look back to the book and then just go, huh, and then just close it and not say another word unless provoked.
And hearing that, Tallow would just sort of casually come back around, not making eye contact, just sort of pretending he's unaware of what's just happened. Just sort of casually comes past, drops couple of bits of kindling, picks the book back up, stuffs it back in his pack, and then keeps collecting more wood.
And I think with that, we move over to Kira and Igram outside. And Kira, I'll go ahead and let you describe exactly what it is that you would find. It's a fairly meager meal, but it's enough for the group that you would be able to feed at least a little bit. Nothing grand, but not zero.
Yeah, so Kira remembers from her childhood going mushroom hunting with her parents. And so she stumbles across some what they call wizard's caps. And they're just these tall, slender, pointy mushrooms that are delicious when fried. So she's able to forage some mushrooms with the help of Igram, who he's probably the one who found them and called her over to see if she knew what they were.
Yeah, so like I'd spot them just like, hey Kira, how about these? Kind of like kicking at them or poking at them with my foot, or with my spear, something as we're looking through the rubble and the detritus of the old world.
Yes, wonderful. These will make a fine breakfast. These are wizard's caps. We can bring them back and enjoy them. Hey, are you okay from yesterday?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
She'll kind of like lay a cautionary hand on his shoulder before she bends down to kind of pull, get the mushrooms out of the ground. She pulls out her dagger and digs them up.
And Igram's just kind of very pensive, very introspective, I guess would be a word to use. He's not really all here right now in this moment. His mind is wandering. He's thinking about, how he used to feed his family, how he used to put food on the table, and he's thinking about the events that led up to now. The face he was just, fighting with moments ago. It felt like it was actually, a day or so. He's just very not overwhelmed, but just a lot of emotion and nostalgia, I guess would be a word to use, kind of washing over him. Regret.
If you need anything, you can always talk to me.
He kind of just grunts and tries to steer the conversation in another direction by pointing out his spear, like, "How about over there? What are those things?" Pointing to some random plant that's probably not edible in the slightest.
Oh, those are frog berries. Cannot eat them. You will be puking and shitting for hours if you eat them.
Well, it looks like that's all there's here, so.
Right.
Do I look more, or do I want to head back and eat some wizard's caps?
Right. Let's go back.
And just he kind of just leads the way and kind of brushes aside any of the foliage on the way back to the cellar.
And it's not too long after that that the four of you would be again in the same room, Tallow and Ignatius, you would see Kira and Igram approach back in, carrying a moderate handful of these like mushrooms.
Looks like a good haul. What have we got?
Wizard's caps. Do you know them?
Oh, I love wizard's caps. I haven't had them, well, in a while. It's going to be a good breakfast. And Tallow also starts sort of unloading what remains of the scraps, of the food scraps in his pockets to sort of contribute to the meal as well. Putting it all out on a flat log or something, maybe.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can find some sort of pan or maybe just piece of metal that we can heat these up on. But if not, we'll just put them on the rocks by the fire.
Igram would kind of rummage through his like sack of belongings. It's just this like really was it like a cloth sack. He just pulls out like a metal helmet. Just kind of like vaguely disc / pot shaped, so you just kind of rest it over the fire and hold something in it.
Thanks.
It's not mine.
I would hope not.
You can have it if you want.
I will keep it. It makes a fine pot.
It's too small for me anyways, so. Yeah. He kind of like scratches his beard and just kind of walks off and stares pensively out into the distance from the doorway or entrance of the cellar, kind of just getting that fresh air again.
I think seeing that Kira would probably get to work cooking everything, Tallow would look over and go up to Igram as he sort of steps away again for some air or for some space, and claps a hand on his shoulder and says, "If they're still alive, we'll find them yet."
He kind of like nods at that. He says like, "You bet your ass we will."
And Ignatius mumbles under his breath, hopefully in a way that Igram wouldn't perceive. Maybe we'll even find them if they're dead.
Yeah, Agron probably wouldn't hear. He's too brooding to hear.
I think Tallow would just give Igram just this look and just turn away from him.
Yeah, you can see Igram's fist clench around his spear as he's like, yeah, we'll find them, in a kind of a not like an angry white knuckle way, but more of a steadfast kind of way.
And I think, yeah, Tallow would clap Igram on the shoulder again and look over, and I'll just start walking back over towards the fire, seeing if he can help Kira finish preparing everything. Taking a nice deep breath through his nose, and smells fantastic as he looks around the area.
Yes, they're ready. One for everyone. She kind of passes out the little bit, warmed and shriveled, a better texture mushrooms to everyone.
Yeah, Igram just descends down the stairs and grabs one from your thing. Just kind of grabs it, holds it in his hand. It's kind of stiff. Kind of just breaks it in half and just shovels one half of it into his mouth and kind of just chews it up like food.
Now that we've eaten, let's get a move on.
As everyone's finishing up, I think Tallow grabs the helmet from the fire, maybe in a bit of his cloak to shield his hand a bit, and just sort of shakes out the last little remnants and sort of hands it back to Kira.
I knew you'd like it. And she puts the pot in her pack.
Yeah, we should get out of here. There's no use hanging around. Faster we move, the faster we'll figure this all out.
And Tallow pulls out his map and unfolds it. It's more so a map of Ashton, not how to get there, obviously. But yeah, now that he feels like they're getting closer, he's pulling it out and to try and cross-reference some landmarks or something. This way, basically continuing the way they've been going. I think they were following a river, was it?
We were following my hand, like
That's right.
the flame directing us just straight towards there.
Tallow's doing the old cross check, keeping the flame honest, checking the map.
Yeah, so Ignatius would summon his flame and then get ready to head on.
And Igram's keeping his distance from this pyromancer with this magical flame. He's never seen magic do anything good. If you've seen it, he's seen it at all in his lifetime, and he's just very cautious around this torch, as he calls him. He's probably take up the rear, I guess, would be in the marching order sense of things.
Yeah, and Igram, you kind of like even more so than before. Like the further that you've gone on, the more that fire seems like something that'll burn you and not like something that'll light the way. Like you just kind of your mind like you almost like feel it pushing you, like pushing against the fire.
Oh man, Jeff's sowing the seeds right here.
Yeah, exactly. After Igram's just like steering as clear as he can from this floating mote of fire guiding their way, he's like, "Nope, not today." But nonetheless, following because that's the next step in our cookie crumb trail. So, but he's at guard. He's at his ready for whatever may happen, whether the pyromancer turns on us and blasts us with fire, or some random creature made of shadow itself pops out of the bushes.
Yeah, and as you guys are going through the old world, every once in a while, a sight of one of those miserable creatures that you had seen before, those beings made almost entirely of smoke and shadow, will be shambling around, but they take no notice of you in this moment, and you're able to largely ignore them. And as the minutes turn to hours, the hours kind of turn into another day. Tallow, you would start to see things on the edge of the map. Things that start to seem almost familiar. Like not like it, like things kind of like on the like outskirts of like where you would have gone probably. It's like maybe you would have seen this building in the distance on the other side, but you've never actually been to it, and now you're coming at it like from the opposite angle. There's like something about it. It's like, wait a second, I think that's the old tower that we used to see in the distance, or something like that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he'd do. He'd be notice something and sort of looking between that and his map to try and, and turning the map up around different angles to try and see if he's right or get his bearings. And and probably even notice that particular tower, as you say, and probably sort of, without really thinking about it, rush over towards it to try and see it and validate. That's what he's thinking, and sort of going ahead of Ignatius and the guiding hand, and sort of breaking the marching order, so to speak. He's just pretty much pelting it.
Yeah, it's like the rest of you see like Tallow like looking at the map and be like, and then look up and be like, whoa, and then he just like starts going, like he just breaks past you guys.
Immediately, Igrim would follow along and like quicken his pace as well, knowing that Tallow is essentially a shrew, this little mouse of a person, hardly formidable. There's something about him that just seems so innocent and naive that Igrim would want to just keep alongside him and make sure he doesn't get into too much trouble.
And so, so you would probably catch up Igrim to Tallow pretty quickly after not too long of chopping along, and come up to Tallow, who stops at just sort of the base of this broken tower. It's pretty much only got one floor left standing, and it's a ruin. And he's scouring the outside of it, looking at the stones, seemingly looking for something. And he's sort of muttering to himself, and he catches out of the corner of his eye that's one of his companions has come up behind him, and he says to Igrim, "Help me look. We're looking for a symbol that looks like a little person wearing a hat." And
a little person wearing a hat, kind of like confused a bit. He starts kind of looking at his feet, maybe kind of like kicking rocks around, kind of like looking around as the person that has no idea what they're supposed to be doing kind of does, where they kind of just look around at random things, and then kind of just starts getting realizing that Tallow is actually like scouring for a random symbol, and he's kind of going to start to follow suit, looking for a symbol of a man wearing a funny little hat.
I imagine Kira would also follow quickly as she sees Tallow kind of bolt down and look back and say, "Ignatius, come on."
You guys go on ahead. I'll catch up.
She'll
As
roll
Ignatius
her eyes and go,
refuses to run, and we'll just continue walking.
So why did we stop here? Why aren't we continuing to go? What's going on? Speak.
Because I think this is the place. I think this is the broken tower that used to be one of our hideouts. I think we're really getting close, but there's so many ruins around here. This was one that, if it's the one I'm thinking of, then this symbol will prove it.
You think so? Look around. Look around, Tallow. There's like a dozen broken towers all around us. You think this is the one? There's like one over there. Why can't it be that one? Past half an hour ago. Why's got to be this one?
Because this one's got the particular stone. The type of stone here. It's darker. It's got the little flecks. It's got the little flecks in it that the other ones don't usually.
Oh yes, it's just that special shade of gray.
There's only 3 towers in the Ashton area that use this stone. I know there's more all scattered around the countryside, but I think this is one of the ones. This is going to be the proof that we're getting towards Ashton.
All right, Stone Whisperer, and Ingram's just gonna continue to kind of like kick over rocks and look for a symbol of a man with a funny little hat, kind of like mumbling and like being all impatient at this randomness.
Anybody who's looking for this, roll me a perception. Everyone except for Tala will have disadvantage because that clue is like the vaguest possible clue.
Five.
Right. So, Tallow, you find what you were looking for that you would recognize as like this man in this funny hat. I imagine like in actuality, like it's like hardly like everyone else has seen exactly what it was, but it's so like not like a good descriptor that like they just completely pass it up, and then you see it and you're like, wait,
That's not a man in a funny hat. That's a squirrel with a backpack on.
Is that even a symbol? Looks like someone just like bumped their stuff against it, maybe knocked out some of the stone.
No, look, it's not. Look, you can see that. That's his hat. And anyway, it doesn't matter. This is it.
Sorry, Mr. Stone Whisperer. My bad. My bad, Stone Whisperer. It's all good.
Is this like abstract art?
It's not. It's not art. It's like kind of like one of the languages of the street. This symbol means this is one that's specific to my crew. This symbol means that this was one of our hideouts.
The symbol means it's a man with a funny hat, apparently. Watch over the man in the funny hat.
It is, all right. Anyway, this is the one, and he sort of just pushes past everyone and climbs like into the ruin, into this dilapidated, dangerous as hell, crumbly tower base, and in there starts sort of rummaging for something. What he's looking for, Jeff, is like a particular little hidden cavity that would contain like a package wrapped in a rag, basically, and this is going to be, for him at least, like proof that they're definitely here, and this was kind of used as, well, we'll see if I find it first. Can I roll to try and find that, Jeff?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an investigation.
Okay. 21.
Yeah, you'd be able to recall where that, and you're able to find it. You have to dig up a good like couple like big pieces of stone, just part of the tower that's fallen away. But you do end up finding it.
Okay, and so inside, he would be expecting to find like just a crumpled up rag, and for him, this is like one of the big answers of, is it still around their time or not? Basically, this, as he's now saying out loud, we use this as a drop zone as well as a hideout. So if there's something in here, then maybe the gang's still in operation. Maybe we're still in our time. And he opens it up. Just a small little opening in the wall, and what would he see?
He would see space.
Empty space? You cut out,
Empty
sorry for me.
space.
And he just drops to his knees and just sighs, exasperated. I mean, this doesn't mean that it's not still our time. They could just have not. They could have just stopped using the drop zone, trying to rationalize irrationally. And I imagine at this point, probably Ignatius or Igrim have sort of had enough and just say, "Let's go. Enough of this. Enough of this bull."
Yeah, so Ignatius would just start yelling out loud, "Hey! Any men with funny hats out there? Hey!" Just kind of like trying to draw any attention, get something to happen. He feels like they're just in the middle of nowhere.
Shh! Don't draw attention to us. And don't be a dick.
Look, I'm just saying, if this is a waste of time, we might as well just not waste any more time.
Igram's kind of genuinely curious at like what Tallow was kind of rummaging for, hiding it, of course, under like this feigned, a standoffishness of like, oh, whatever, just a weirdo doing a weirdo thing. But as he kind of unravels it and sees like he understands the heartbreakingness that Tallow just experienced, and there's something stirring inside of him, kind of something foreboding and grim and kind of bad news. Kind of, you just feel it, feeling of this ominous bad news, kind of stirring. He's like, so he's kind of observing and pensive.
Tallow still just in a heap on his knees, just sort of says out loud, like not being able to tell that Igrim's there and Kira's probably there as well. Maybe a bit more supportive than Ignatius. He just says, thinking out loud, this is how we used to keep each other up to date on who was hot, whether we were getting followed. Just the latest updates when we couldn't meet in person. If there's nothing in here, I think we are too late. And he actually looks up and looks over to Kira with tears welling up in his eyes. Not making eye contact with Igrim because he can't face that right now. That connection of, if my friends and family are gone, that means yours must be too. So he's avoiding eye contact with Igrim, but just looking at Kira for some support.
Kira will definitely just come to you and, let you cry onto her and just be like, yes, it'll be okay. You have us now. We need to get out of here. We can mourn our losses later.
Igrim hasn't quite put two and two together. He's still kind of like just observing you, just being all kind of mournful. He kind of like reaches out his arm to pull you up. He kind of just ushers you and kind of urges you, come on, keep going. Don't have time to dilly dally like we do now.
Okay, you're right. Yep. Let's go. Let's see what remains of the rest of the town.
Then he like ironically says, we need to find my family.
And Tallow just sort of quickly nods, leaving it at that. And let's Igrim just sort of lead the way.
And I kind of like brush past Ignatius, kind of like a little bit more like antagonistic than a random a regular brushing past someone, like a bit of a shoulder bump, kind of like giving him a kind of a grunt as I walk by him.
Ignatius just lets it happen. And thinks himself like, ooh, okay. And then just follows kind of in the back of the group.
Yeah, and with that, as you guys kind of make your way back onto the path further in towards the town, see that the sky, which is always generally overcast, is growing a little bit darker as you get closer to the town. A little heavy. And it's within maybe another half hour that now Tallow, you start to see some of the building up over the edge of the ruins of the old world. I've set a little bit back outside. There's some space between it and the edge um, of this city. The meager shacks and wooden houses that Ashton sits upon. Tied up rivers that used to run near and around it, leaving almost trenches leading up. And you'd see that there's people gathered in the town. Surprising amount of people. Like almost as if it was some sort of town gathering. It's too far to see, but it's definitely more people than you'd expect to see. But there's clearly life.
Teller's lost for words as he sees this, and he just looks to his companions to sort of see if they're seeing the same thing. There's people there. The town lives.
Careful, we do not know where these people's allegiances lie.
Yeah. And what they think of us. Igrum would say, but he's not referring to us as a collective, more like us as in him.
Yeah, and Ignatius kind of like waves his hand through the flame that he's been following to get it to disperse. He says, "Yeah, we should be careful." He starts like rolling down his sleeves to cover up the burns on his arms, kind of trying to make himself more presentable.
Well, these dried rivers lead to some underground tunnels through the city. That's usually how I would get around, especially when I needed to lay low. I could try and lead us through that way, rather than walking through the gate when there's such a big crowd in there.
I think it'd be better to try the direct way first. No sense in hiding around if we don't need to.
Okay, you're doing the talking.
Oh boy. So Ignatius leads the way towards the gate to go inside of this city with all these people.
As you start to get closer to the town, some of the people, the crowd becoming less of a distinct singular entity, and different shapes of people start to form as you get close enough to tell them apart. And Igrum, I need you real quick to make me a perception check or a history check.
Man, what's this for?
Igrum, hello.
My bad. Sorry, I thought it was. I didn't realize it was me. I thought it was someone else making the roll. I have 17 to my perception.
So as you're approaching the crowd, Igram, you catch a symbol on the sleeve of one of the guards. I want you to describe to everybody what the symbol of the Iron Papacy looks like.
The Iron Papacy it has this symbol. It's a circle, and jutting out from one of its, just straight up from it, is like an arrow. And this arrow is hanging off of like on a chain, a spiked chain that's kind of like wrapped around pole, kind of like a metal spear, which ends in some wicked blade. And yeah, this is kind of like a long symbol that's adorned on perhaps like a shield or like a helmet or like some kind of, you know, or armor or something.
And how would one react to seeing this?
Igrum would see it and immediately like bolt to behind, out of sight, just like to break line of sight at all with these people, just like, you know, ducking behind a building. And he'd be like whispering or mouthing words to the rest of the party.
Kira would immediately follow suit and try to hide also.
Instinctively, Tallow would too, and trying to make out what Igram's mouthing, what words he's mouthing.
Igram's just mouthing like a bunch of profanities, like "fuck," "get back behind here," you know, kind of things. Like he's kind of like motioning to you with his hands, you know, to.
Yeah, Ignatius sees you all hide and then like kind of looks ahead and sees that like there's no threat, it's just the people. And he just assumes it's an overreaction as you go ahead and walk up and find out what's going on.
Yeah, and Ignatius, you're able to like approach the crowd. They're kind of all focused inwards. You would see there's a large tree in the center of town. A couple people are gathered there. And a voice would begin ringing out. All of you would be able to hear it. It's with great honor we found the last of those scum rats. I present him here for punishment. Punishment. He will be hanged until dead as a symbol for what happens when you break the rules of the town and disrupt the safety and comfort of the people. Ton, the last remaining scum of those dusk children.
At the mention of Ton, the name Ton, Tallow can't see what's going on, but he hears what's playing out, and his eyes just widen, and he grabs whoever's nearest to him, out of sight, him, Kira, and Igram probably grabs Kira on the arm and says, "They are alive, Ton. Ton's one of my brothers. Not the child of dusk. The last one by the sounds of it, apart from me."
Shh, calm down, calm down. Let's see if we can get a look at him.
You know, those guys are the fuckers that killed me.
Tallo's eyes widen even more somehow as he looks over to Igram. Well, if you couldn't get away, what chance do we have of getting Ton out of this? He's my last brother. As he sort of shakes Kira gently, like without really realizing it, like trying to get his message across, his desperation across.
I think you know what I had to do to get away from those fuckers. He'd say and kind of like spit in the ground.
Igram, wouldn't you do anything to get a chance to get your family back? We have to help Tallow. Ignatius?
Ignatius is not with you guys, remember? He's like in the crowd.
Sorry, yeah.
He's joined the mob,
Peek around the corner.
cheering.
You're just gonna kind of peek around the corner and count how many people are kind of garbed in the Iron Papacy uniform.
It's hard to tell other people mixed in, so like your line of sight from the ground level isn't great. You can see there's kind of like two just like they look just like lower guards, just like with like basic spears, nothing crazy. You can see kind of at the back of the crowd. And you can hear a voice coming from past the crowd. That's the person speaking, who you can presume is probably one of them as well. And then you'd probably guess maybe some more outside of that, but it's hard to get an exact guess. Anywhere between like 3, 5, 7, something like that.
The Igram kind of like peeks around and sees them, and he kind of just like mutters like, "There's so many of those fuckers."
Tan, do you have any last words before you meet your judgment?
Igram, what did you do to survive? Did he come to you, or did you have to reach out to him? Could you get him here now? Can you save Ton?
Doesn't fucking matter. And Igram's gonna charge out, sword in hand, just from around the corner. He's gonna like charge directly to the hanging stadium or stand or whatever it's called, to where this man's being executed. Just like full
Alright, so you're
sprint,
gonna
just like leaving everyone else behind.
Are you gonna like push through the crowd to try to get to see, or are you trying to attack like the first guy that you see? What exactly are you trying to do?
No, yeah, I'm gonna barrel like through people to get to the noose. I'm not attacking people on the way, just trying to get to the noose.
Yeah, so as you start like pushing through the crowd, just like pushing like random townsgoers aside, shoving your way. There's probably about like I'm gonna say like a 15-foot gap between like the end of the road and like where this is all happening. So you would see kind of right at the base of this large tree that is the center of this town. The leaves of the tree have long since died. It's more just there's a man in kind of like armor, large tabard with the symbol on it. Another woman kind of just behind him. Them is a boy. It looks to be about give or take Tallow's age, maybe give or take a couple years. Who's knelt on the ground and bound his neck.
Igram's just gonna run up and who seems to be in charge of the rope that is around the Dusk Child's neck?
Yeah, so there's like the man who's speaking and like the woman right next to him, and there's like a third like a third person kind of like holding the rope, like a little bit like behind the tree. So basically like pull it over. It's already strung over the branch, and like maybe a couple feet back. But it's like behind where these other two people are.
So that's the man I'm gonna go after. I'm gonna try and my end goal is to get the rope from him. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna approach him in such a way that like just be as disruptive as possible. Essentially to the other two. Like if I gotta push and like actually shove them onto the ground to get there, I'm fine with that. But yeah, my goal is just to get as quick as I can to the rope itself.
Alrighty, so they are somewhat ready for this. So we're actually just going to like not for you specifically, but ready for like disruptions. So we're actually just going to straight up roll initiative, like off the bat. Like as Igram just begins charging towards this person, and there's going to be like swords and spears drawn as Igram charges. Man, those initiative scores though.
Yeah, that's the only nat 20 I'm gonna get.
A lot of initiatives, and then Kira. What's your total initiative, Kira?
Yeah, I got a 1. Sorry, nat 1.
You have no initiative modifier?
Oh no, +3, so 4.
Okay. Len pushes his way up to the front. He begins like kind of running. There's kind of a commotion that begins to stir. But it's actually Ignatius. He was already kind of worked his way into the crowd and was prepared, I'm sure, for something like this to happen.
Holy shit, that's a lot of enemies. That's at least 5 plus however many extras there are. Okay, so Ignatius sees Igram charge in and kind of like looks around and sees Tallow like way far back. And decides to communicate with him telepathically and says, are you going to do anything about this? Or are you just going to let Igram fight your battles?
Does Tallow have a chance to respond?
Yeah. In like a sentence, essentially.
Yeah, it would just be like a not a growl. Yeah, basically just like like he's about to leap into action and trying to shake off your thoughts.
So I'm going to ready an action, and just kind of hold still, like in the crowd, kind of looking around.
All right, and what is your readied action? Like, what are you waiting to happen?
If the rope gets pulled up, I'm going to set it ablaze to try and break it.
Perfect. Alrighty, next up is Tallow. Some of the townspeople are beginning to like there's murmurs kind of going through the crowd as Igram's kind of broken through and begun to sprint. You see Ignatius a little bit of head kind of mixed in with the other people who's not yet done anything.
And Tallow's a bit torn. As soon as Igram leapt out and started charging in, he really wanted to charge in straight behind him as well, but he never gets into a fight where he's outnumbered or where he doesn't have a good chance of winning. But this is his brother. about to be hung, you know. So and Igram's just doing this for his for Tala's family and friends. So he launches himself in there. He draws his short swords, rushes around the corner, and starts racing down, basically to try and stick with Igram, catch up, and then stick with Igram. And as he's running, as his bonus action, he shouts just in desperation, "That's my brother Igram! Save him!" And I'll give Igram a bardic inspiration dice. So within 10 minutes, you can use that. It's a d6. You can use it to add to a check save or attack roll anytime in the next 10 minutes. And I think, how far is it? I'd have something for an action as well if I get close enough, potentially.
So you were a little bit back, and I'm gonna say the crowd is gonna count as like difficult terrain, more or less, because you won't just be able to run straight through them. So I'm gonna say you could basically get to the front edge of the crowd, so you can see everything unfolding, which will put you about 15 feet away.
Okay.
These guys are.
Yeah.
So if you have if you have ranged, then you would be able to like shoot from the front of the crowd, but you're not close enough for melee this turn.
No, that's okay. Don't have any range. So I would, just be trying to position myself so that as quickly as possible I can get in and team up with Igram. So yeah, just up to the crowd and trying to shove my way through for now. Assuming there's nobody
and you make
in the crowd who's trying to attack me yet. They're all just attendees.
Yeah, most of them are just like townspeople. Like they're just like wearing rags and like unarmed. And now that you're at the front of the crowd, you can very clearly see Ton on his knees right in front of this man with the rope around his neck. Definitely him.
Yeah, he's definitely scanning to see Ton as well. So yeah, and that just fuels him. He's just got the adrenaline going. That's his focus.
Alrighty, Ignatius and Tallow kind of work their way up through the crowds as Igram is charging, and Igram, you're able to make it to this man with the rope before they're able to react and catch you. Go for it.
Yeah, Igram hears this voice kind of whispering. It's very like a haughty, kind of, snide and prudish voice. The voice of the person, the demon we encountered earlier. This demon is promoting like acts of violence. Kill them. You know you want to kill them all. Kind of just urging me on into essentially just this bloodlust-filled bout of rage. And Igram's eyes turn black, solid black, like black as night. And he's gonna try and like grab onto the rope that this just layman soldier is having in his hands, and like use his other hand to just slice through his arm with my sword. To sever it. Sever his arm. I mean.
Alrighty, yeah, make your attack.
Awesome. I'm gonna just probably burn my bardic inspiration on this one. Oh no, never mind. I got the whole advantage for attack rolls thing. Yeah, cool. So, it's 18 to hit.
Yes, that'll hit.
Dealing 11 points of damage.
Awesome. Yeah, you charge up. The sword swings. You get a nice cut. He kind of moves to the side as the sword like glances up, giving him like a superficial wound. Like grunts. And he's gonna draw his reaching for his sword as well.
Did I secure the rope that he was holding onto? Like, did he let go of it? Probably in this strike.
Yeah, he would have like as you got close, like as you like approached him and like with weapon drawn, he would have let go of the rope to try to like ready himself.
Yeah, awesome. I would like to just like toss the rope over the just like toss it above my head, just throw it above into the branches of this tree, just to get it out of reach of everyone else.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Cool. Yeah, and then that's my turn. As I just kind of let out this bellow, just this, it was like raw sound.
Yeah, and immediately this man that was standing just above Ton um, draws a sword and readies a shield, and he begins shouting, "Heathens have come to disrupt us! Eric, kill that man! Maven, secure him!" Just like starting to shout orders. Um, and then this woman who's was standing just behind this man is going to turn over to you, Igram, and like everyone else would kind of like see her mouth moving, muttering. But Igram, you just feel these like words like going into your ears, like as if she was right next to you. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no.
Yeah, Igram, like you just like feel like these words like go through you, and then like you see these almost like these tendrils of the darkness kind of swirl around you, almost like wisps of pure black smoke that kind of like wrap around your arms and your legs, and then like up onto your face. As you will be under the effect of hold person and will be paralyzed.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool.
And then he died again.
That make it 19, is it?
Alrighty. And this man, right in front of you, Igram, you just like see through your now like frozen still body. He can bring up his sword to ready at you. He's gonna just take in both hands just a big downward swing. Alrighty, and with advantage, that is going to be a 22. I'm guessing that's gonna hit. Alrighty. Oof. Oh God. Yeah. So like as the man who was shouting, he goes over and as he's yelling, he's go for his sword arm, and like this guy just like brings up his sword and like brings it down at your arm, just like cutting like right into your collarbone. The attack is gonna crit because you're paralyzed, and from the called shot, help from his commander, you are gonna take 20 damage.
All right. Cool. Yeah, that's no problem.
It's just 2/3 of my hit points. No big deal.
It's barely a scratch for Agram. Let's be real here.
That would wreck me. It'd be over.
Well, I'm fine. Imagine like the blade just like
And
sinks into my flesh and it makes a weird like sucking noise as this like this black tarry stuff coats the blade of the weapon as he pulls it out instead of the usual runny red blood.
out a grunt of surprise as he sees that. Um, a couple the two soldiers that were in the back of the crowd begin working their way up to the front, coach like in line with the crowd scene, and are gonna ready themselves. Kira. there's just been like this explosion of commotion now as you're still kind of a little bit back.
Kira wants to see if there is anything near her that she can kind of climb on top of to get a better vantage point of this guy who has the rope around her neck and where all of her companions are. So any like carts or like buildings that she can scramble up the side, maybe.
Yeah, if you wanted to try to climb a building, you'd be able to do so. They're made of just like basic wood, and it's not very great wood, so there's kind of some like gaps and parts poking out that you could use to climb it up.
Okay, preferably a building that has some kind of ledge that I can at least squat on.
Most of these buildings are short, like wood buildings of pretty low quality, so they're basically all just going to be like.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, do you want me to roll to climb one?
With just you can climb it like half your speed without making a check. So you would just be able to make it up.
Great, yeah. I'll go ahead and climb one and look, and hopefully see that Grim, just got hacked, and so I want to shoot an arrow at the guy who hacked him, if I can.
Yeah.
Does 12 hit?
12 is not going to do it. You fire the arrow and it's just off part of his armor, and it's not able to sink in and damage him.
Okay.
All right. Anything else from Kira?
Well, I guess if as a cunning action, she'll try to hide on the rooftop.
So,
So, sorry, stealth 24.
I'm sorry.
24.
Yeah. So
First.
no would be plenty to hide, but right as you go to slink back a little bit further on the roof, as an arrow pierces into your shoulder, you can follow the track back. See on one of the roofs another man on the roof with a bow in his hand, who's watched you fire that shot with a readied action. He'll take 8 piercing damage.
Sorry, how much damage?
8. Alrighty, and with that, we will move back up.
Oh man! So I send another message to Tallow, and I say, "How important is this to you? I can even the odds, but there will be consequences."
And Tallow's response is frantic because he's in amongst the action. Save him! We must save him.
And I just respond with, "By any means."
Spare our companions and save him. Do what you must.
All right. So Ignatius's eyes turn black as he kind of mumbles and groans under his breath in the crowd, as pieces of his shadow split from his body and kind of run along the ground on their own through the crowd towards the woman that has held Igram. And two shadowy forms emerge, standing up from the ground where the shadows lie. And two shadow versions of Igram appear, just like wreathed in blackness, like smoky, as they attack this mage, this shadow sorceress, whatever she is. One of them crits, and the other one gets a 22 to hit.
Those will both hit.
Alrighty. So the first one is... Oh yeah, that's right. It's a crit, so I need another one of these. Whoo! 3 shy from max damage, so that's going to be 23 damage.
Jeez.
And her strength score is reduced by 1. So she makes the con save there for that one, which would be what, 12?
It's a 13 on the die.
Okay. And then the other one hits for 6 damage, and her strength score is reduced by 2. So her strength goes down by 3, and she takes
So
a fuck ton of damage.
That's actually enough damage between those 2 hits to kill her.
So Igram's shadows just rip into this chick, just cleaving her through with his axe, just cutting off an arm and like splitting her chest cavity open. His blood just flies everywhere, and her body just drops to the ground. The blood draining out of it, red and then turning black. As Igram remains hidden in the crowd.
The
Sorry,
crowd,
as Ignatius remains hidden.
the crowd begins to, all of them just begin to bolt, begin running and screaming. Yeah, as if there was not enough chaos, there's just this complete mayhem that's being sprouting now as these shadow creatures appear. Just people begin just running for houses, running even away from town. Tallow, you just see everything just completely erupt. You would have seen everything that just happened.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's the crowd who was trying to fight through is now just bursting everywhere, and he's trying to keep himself on his feet as he still tries to make his way towards Ton and Igram. But he's seeing these 2 shadow creatures that Ignatius has just summoned. He's terrified of them, but he's just blindly just pushing towards them anyway, to try and get to Ton. Is there any of the Iron Papacy or the guards directly in between him and where he's trying to get to now, or?
As we did. So Tan is like on the ground, like bound, like unable to move, like literally at the feet of the commander of Garrus and this what used to be this witch, Maven, who was there. So he's like literally like at Garrus's feet.
Yeah. And Igram's still trying to make his way to him there, isn't he? He was over. I'll basically just trying to get to Igram so that then together we can try and get Ton. So, yeah, making my way over.
Well, Igram is over. Igram is over with fighting with Eric.
Oh, right.
So Igram is not next to Ton. He went for like the end of the rope.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, he's a little.
Understood. Okay. So, all right. Well, what Tallow will do then is quickly getting the lay of the land, seeing where Igram is and where these two shadow Igrams are. I think he's just focused on trying to get to Ton, so he won't be racing up directly to the leader, but he'll be trying to make his way there. So if he can use the chaos to his advantage, then that's what he'll be trying to do, position himself so that he can ideally come and cut Ton free, but he'll need a distraction. So if he can even try and get around without the leader seeing him getting close enough, so that hopefully next turn he can try and cut Ton free.
All right, so you're just kind of trying to like ready your position. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Try to...
Yeah, sorry, just thinking that out loud there. That's what I'll try and do. And so he'll call out to Igram. Igram, like call him over to come and follow him, basically, or point to Ton on the ground, trying to get Igram to distract the leader, and then he will make his way around to set himself in position. Got there eventually. Sorry.
Perfect. Alrighty, so yeah, Igram, you hear Tallow cry out, asking for help, for you to go for Ton, but there is a person standing right next to you as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say the world is muted for Igram. It's in shades of black as these tendrils of darkness kind of recede from his view and retract from his body as the witch is dispatched. And he just sees a man holding a sword in both hands, and the deep wound on his neck area. He just brings up his sword and just strikes this man down as if it were, nothing special, just one easy strike. Is gonna get a 21 to hit and do a whopping 17 points of damage to him.
Jeez, yeah. Yeah, he's starting to look pretty beat up.
And like as he's striking him, I just imagine him just like barreling forwards, just closing the distance, putting this giant brawn of a man, just kind of shoulder checking him and using that kind of unbalancing just to crush in with this sword. And he's gonna whip around with his offhand with his bonus action, just pulling a smaller knife from his sheath and just kind of stabbing him in the neck or gut or something. Getting a 17 on that attack roll.
$17 is just barely not enough.
All right, cool.
Yeah, like the first attack hits, but you go for the second, he's able to like kind of muscle it out of the way with his sword.
Yeah, so I just like bearing on him with like a sword in one hand and a dagger in the other. Well, can I use Bardic Inspiration after I see the result of the roll, or no?
So you can use it after you see the result, but not before not before you ask if it hits or misses.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. And then, yes, I'm done. I'm just gonna like stand there and just like stare at him, like deadpan face, these inky eyes that are just hollow, staring like into his like soul or something. And I just see, him just like withering away before my eyes, even though he's not really doing anything special. As this voice haunts me, telling me to just like rip off his head and wear it as a hat or something.
Yeah, so as the crowd just begins flying just away in every direction, this man who was standing next to Ton is going to kind of kick Ton over onto his side and onto his back, still bound up. And he locks eyes with you, Ignatius. Shadow beings! I knew they were heathens! You will die. And he's going to charge at you. And he is going to get a modified 20, which I believe will hit.
Yeah.
And so as he brings his sword down on you, there's a huge flash of golden light that runs down his blade. You feel as it cuts into you, just this blast of like, it's almost like burning, but it's not the same burn that your fire burns. It's like almost as if it was burning like you from within as it strikes. And you are going to take 12 slashing damage and 8 radiant damage.
12 slashing, 8 radiant. Holy shit. All right then.
As he just like stands
Igrum
over you, sword, like,
screams as it burns deeper than any flame he's felt.
and he just like stands over you, sword in hand, shield in the other, just like looking down at you as if you were some spawn of a devil. "16 hit you."
Wait, am I getting attacked again?
I said, "Kira."
Oh, okay. It's like, woo.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Does what hit me?
16.
Yes.
Yeah, there's another arrow pierced into you. This one grazes past your side. You just feel the blood begin to run down as you'll take 5 piercing damage. This man on another roof.
I failed my con save on that, so the shadows dissipate.
Beautiful. Yeah, this man in front of you, Igrum, Eric, he's going to raise up his sword, try to attack at you again. But he's too weakened from your blows. He's not able to find an opportunity. He swings at you, but you're able to dodge deftly as it just like clunkily lands in. So, Hallow, these two grunt soldiers had kind of worked their way through the crowd. They spot you as you're trying to kind of maneuver to the side, waiting for an opportunity to run at Ton. One of them to the other, over there! And they're going to begin moving towards you. They will not reach you this turn. In your direction. Like, they basically make it like within about 10 feet of you. Their spears kind of at the ready. And that'll bring us to Kira.
Kira's kind of holding her side that's just been grazed and looking at the chaos that has been caused by Ignatius and just kind of go, fuck, that hothead. And she will. So there are 2 guys on the roofs. Is that what I understand?
There's one guy, so there's the leader who just charged Ignatius. There's one man on the roof who has been firing at you. And there is another who is engaged with Igrum. Kind of grunty, like, dweeb soldiers who are moving their way towards Tallow.
Okay. I will use insightful fighting as a cunning action against the other roof guy, the other guy on the roof. Insight versus his deception. And if I win, then I'm granted sneak attack damage.
Perfect.
Regardless of advantage. Yeah. 17.
Yeah, he rolled a 2 on the die. So that'll
Great.
absolutely hit. Or work.
Okay, and then I will go ahead and fire an arrow at him. Oh, shit. Nat 1. For a total of 6. Just definitely misses.
Yeah, so like you try to fire at him, like you like analyze like the way that he's moving, and I think you can get a sweet spot, but like you focus too hard on like hitting the specific spot, and like he moves and you're not able to hit. Like, yeah, the arrow just whizzes through the air. He kind of like watches it pass and kind of jerks his head as it goes past his ear.
And yeah, I'll just try to take as much cover as I can from his return volley.
Yeah. So the roof that you're on is flat. So if you wanted to like drop down to the ground, you'd be able to do that and hide behind the building. But there's basically nowhere on top of it that he won't be able to see you.
Gotcha. So how far away is he? Can I like try to run and jump across rooftops and get to him?
You wouldn't be able to do that in one round. It would take you two
Right.
movements.
Okay, so can I just like run and jump like to one close to him, or move towards there, get ready to run and jump, whatever you want to.
Yeah, you'd be able to like jump across a couple of the buildings. They're kind of like built around this kind of circular plaza where the tree is kind of the center point. So you have to kind of take a curved arc around some of the buildings to be able to make your path and get a little to him.
Great. On my way.
Alrighty. Yeah, you're able to dive across some of the buildings. Kind of him following you as you move across the rooftops as he readies another arrow. But that'll bring us back up to the top. Ignatius, there is a large and scary man inches from your face.
Oh gosh. So Ignatius needs to tactically retreat. So I'm gonna spend another 3 psi. It's 1, 2, 3. Okay. And a flame erupts around Ignatius, swirling around as seen before. And then, is there any like place up above me, like a landing or a building or the tree that I can like fly up into?
Yeah, there's plenty of like small buildings kind of around. I'd say in like 20 feet of where you're at.
Perfect. So I don't think he'd even have really a snarky remark for this guy before he tries to run away. He's really just more in fight or flight mode. I'm gonna fly away from him and kind of like blast through the air using the fire to propel myself up on top of one of the buildings away from this guy. So I'll take that opportunity attack at disadvantage and cross my fingers.
Perfect. All right, and you are very lucky, my friend. That's a 3 on the die with disadvantage, so it'll bring him up to like a 10, which I'm guessing is not going to do it.
Perfect. So then I'm going to use my reaction, and he has to roll his own attack roll at himself.
He will not hit himself.
God damn it. So as this blade comes in, there's kind of like a blast of fire that deflects it away from Ignatius as he flies up onto the building. And kind of like breathes a sigh of relief, hoping this guy doesn't have any more tricks.
Thunk as his blade like comes crashing down and like smashes into the dirt. He just lets out a loud curse as he begins like looking around. It'll bring us to Tallow. You have a couple of like the lesser guards approaching towards you.
Yeah, I'd imagine they've been sort of catching up, either from the side coming in to flank me or something like that. And so he has no choice but to kind of stand his ground and usually he's got a bit more of a repertoire of things that he can do, but the last couple of times he thinks back to when he tried to do his little earth tremor trick on the demon back in the old world. Nothing happened at all, and so he can't rely on those abilities right now. So he basically just, like with a growl, because he's just frustrated, he wants to get to Ton and try and save him. He just turns and fiercely faces off against these two fully armed, trained soldiery dudes with his short sword. And can he ready an action so that when one of them tries to go for him, he can try and, I suppose I don't have any parry abilities or anything like that, but I don't think he would want to lunge into these two dudes wielding spears. So,
All right, so basically, you're like, when they approach you, you're gonna like retaliate at them.
yeah, if that's okay, I'll do it that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, yeah. Tallow readies
and
himself as the guards approach.
yeah, and that's it.
Anything else?
Nope, he'll save the rest for when it all kicks off.
Alrighty. Igrum, you're up. Eric, the wolf, is breathing heavily. His movements are getting sluggish. His sword looks heavy.
Yeah, like his knees are weak and his arms are heavy. I'm just gonna bring my sword down, just at him, striking him because he in his weakened state. Using the power of my shadow to let me inflict deeper wounds. My advantage here. I get a natural 20. So I'm gonna do a massive amount of damage. It's gonna be It's going to be 19 points of damage.
That's well over what you need.
Yeah, and so I
Does it
just imagine as he just found kind of in a heap, and Igrum just imagines or just sees in front of him this young woman bending over to pick mushrooms from the floor, the growing in this kind of debris, and he just brings up his sword and just stabs her right in the chest, puncturing her lung. And when he kind of just pulls back from the strike, he sees this man of the Iron Papacy just bleeding out on the ground at his feet. And he turns and sees the man kind of bound on his knees, his neck wrapped in a noose at the base of this tree, and just starts to approach him, just slowly, one step after the other, his sword still in his hand, still dripping with blood. That is my turn.
So Garrus, the man, he looks up at Ignatius in the building and yell, "Darian, get him!" He turns back. Tallow, can you roll me just real quick a d6, then add 5?
Ten.
Okay. Garrus turns back. He sees Igrum approaching. No, will not let you let this rat escape. No heathens will be left alive. He charges towards Igrum. At Igrum, there's a grunt of pain and a shout as the sword goes not downwards towards Igrum, but flips and stabs downwards towards the ground. As Tan will take 20 damage. Blood begins to pour. Tallow, you'll gain 10 points of shadow as you see your brother look up. In the days of what's happening, you can hardly tell if he's actually looking at you, but it almost like it as his breath stops.
And Teller just gutturally cries out in rage and despair. He's got these two guys in front of him that he's standing up against, but he now wants to go and take it out on this Garrus guy. But I've got to wait, I believe, so.
Darian looks over, his gaze directed away from Kira towards a new target that his leader has ordered him to. Does a 16 get you, Ignatius?
Did he roll with disadvantage?
No.
Attack rolls against Ignatius right now have disadvantage.
Ah,
Thank the Lord.
alrighty. That is a then
A what?
14.
Oh, that's my AC exactly. So I think that hits, right?
Yeah. So that'll
Yeah.
be 7 piercing damage then.
Oh
As you
God.
just-
Oh no.
and then a thunk as an arrow pierces into you, Ignatius. Does that put you down, or are you still up?
I'm still up. I'm just bleeding profusely.
All right, and that was Darian. Eric is dead. Soldiers are going to start closing in on you, Tallow. Their spears in hand. But you can go ahead and use your ready to action if you'd like.
Yeah, so the action I had ready was to attack them once they approach. So I'm not able to change that, am I, to anything different to try and get to Garrus? Happy to attack these dudes if so.
Yeah, I mean that would like require a move and an action.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. So I will take my attack against one of them as they approach, trying to sort of knock the spear out of the way as they come close and swing up with an attack for 12.
That'll hit. These guys are not nearly the warriors that Garrus is.
Excellent. That's 9 piercing damage.
Yeah, so you strike at one of them, and you're able to like severely wound them. Like it's a deep cut, you know, is going to cause some lasting damage.
And Tello just cries out as he does this, as he sticks the blade in. He's just just wailing with despair as he's trying to more frantically than usual, just trying to cut through these guys to get to Garrus.
Yeah, the guard that you stabbed with a nat 1, like he just collapses from the pain. Like he drops to one knee, his spear like clatters to the ground. The other kind of charges up at you though, and with a 19 on the die is going to hit for 5 piercing damage on you, Tallow. Is he like with this like not particularly fancy spear? It's almost makeshift, just like able to clip part of you. I imagine in his current state, he would hardly even like feel it or care.
Yeah, that's right. I think he's he's just kind of staring between them through to Garrus and Ton as he's just instinctively, wouldn't really notice the hit.
Alrighty, and with that, Kira, you've made your way across some of the buildings. You've seen Darian, this archer, away from you per his commander's orders.
Yeah, I want to continue running to him and try to. Well, actually, no. If I see him turn away, then I'll stop running and try to fire another arrow at him, I guess. Would I have advantage if he is turned away?
Oh, so you're kind of like in an arc around, so he can still like see you off the side of his vision, as he's
Okay.
like turned towards Ignatius. His attention is not on you, but he can still like see you out of the corner of his
Okay.
eye.
Cool. So I will still, in that case, I thought his back was turned to me, so I will continue running to him, and
Yeah, you'd
hopefully
actually
I
be
can.
able to reach him this turn if you'd like.
Okay, and then I will kind of taunt him now that I know his name, Darian, and pull out my rapier and try to stab him. But first, sorry, I want to use insightful fighting for my cunning action to kind of like size him up first. So, I'll be taunting him and kind of toying with him to see what his next moves will be.
Yeah, go ahead.
Man, I roll well on that. Another 24.
Yeah, he rolled pretty well too, but you'll actually still beat him. He got a 19.
Nice.
Yeah, he's like surprisingly hard to
Um,
catch on to. Like his actions are like harder to predict than you would think, but then suddenly it kind of clicks. It's like you see a pattern in his movements. You're able to get a handle
what
on him.
weapon is he fighting with?
He has
He's
the
maybe
he has the
just like
bow in his hand still, but he's like reaching now down at his side as you're charging for a short blade.
great. Okay. And so as he's reaching down, I'll try to attack him with my rapier. 12.
That'll hit him actually. He's
Yes. Great. Then I will go ahead and stab him for 9 damage.
yeah, the rapier like clip into him, give him a pretty nice dig. He'll like let out a groan. His hand he'll let the bow drop as he reaches for his short sword.
Cool.
Alrighty, and that will flip us back up top. Kira has closed in with Darian, who's dropped his bow down. So you're on the roof now. Garrus is next to Igram. Tallow is being like flanked by 2 soldiers, and Kira is closed in with Darian.
Oh, jeez. Man, this is like the moment where like Ignatius is on this rooftop, like looking at his friends all engaged in combat and trying to figure out who to help or what to do. Oh, man. Jeez, this is rough. This. All right, I'm going to so I'll see Tallow there being flanked by 2 men and decide that it looks like he's in need of the most help. And so I'm going to target one of those guys and I'll have them make a Constitution saving throw, DC 13.
All right, so one of the 2 men is very injured. The other has not been hit. Which one are you going for?
I'll go off of the injured one.
Perfect. He's going to radically fail. That's a 2 on the die.
Perfect. So Ignatius raises his hand forward as it wreathes in flame, and fire begins to swirl around the feet of this man as he just says out loud, "I'm sorry, I have to." and he clenches his fist, and the fire around his fist just flames up, and simultaneously the flames around this guy's feet just rise up and engulf him in fire for 9, 10, 12 damage.
Over his remaining health.
All right.
Yeah, what does that look like as he dies?
So the flames, like I said, they rise up, encapsulating him in fire, and then disperse as some ash just falls back to the ground next to Tallow. And I'm now 2 points over my shadow limit.
Perfect. All right.
Also, almost forgot. I'm going to try and find some cover on this rooftop, like a chimney. Just hunker down.
Perfect. Yeah, Tallow, you see one of these men, just like the one who you had stabbed, who had fallen down to his knee, just like erupt into flames from Ignatius's magic. The other guard looks like clearly extremely frightened by this sudden turn of events. And he's kind of there shaking before you. Just past him is Garrus.
So, yeah, I think Tallow would make the attempt to just charge past or around as much as possible this second guy here. If that provokes an opportunity attack, I don't think he'd care.
Yeah, so he will, as you go charging past him, he will kind of like manage to break away from the fear of seeing his friend immolated and try to like, just in pure like fight or flight instinct, take a stab at you. And that's just a flat 14. Is that gonna do it?
It would, but as Tallow is racing past, he will use his class power, cutting words, and expend one of his Bardic Inspiration die to subtract 2 from that roll by sapping the guy's confidence and confusing him as he says a snippy remark as he dashes off, which I can't think of right now.
Yeah, I imagine it's like almost even more subtle than that. Like he sees your determination and like his friend's smoldering body, and like just like the complete chaos of it is enough to like distract his strike.
You don't want to be next, mate. Something like that.
Yeah, his strike will go wide as you're able to charge past him, and you would have enough movement to close to Garrus if you wanted to.
Excellent. So yeah, I would sprint up and he'd just be again sort of wailing with this despair, looking between his friend, his brother Tom, laying on the ground bleeding to death or already dead presumably, and just channeling that into Garrus as he charges up, and it feels like his old sort of it feels a change from since he witnessed Ton get stabbed. It's just set him into this different sort of mindset, and throwing caution to the wind, he runs up and does his usual trick of slamming down fist first on the ground within 5 feet of Garrus as he casts Earth Tremor as a second level spell. So each creature within a 10-foot radius makes a Dex saving throw. Take 2d6 damage because I'm casting as a second level spell and knocked prone if they fail it. So Dex saving throw. DC.
That will include Igram as well right now.
He won't mind. Yeah, and Tallow would probably do it anyway. So DC 13 dex save.
All right, he's gonna fail.
Ooh, so 2d6. So 7 bludgeoning damage each, I think that would be, and they're both knocked prone.
And I got a
Looks like
21 on my dice.
Igram made a save, so
sorry,
he is
yes.
gonna be okay.
Of course,
So I
sorry.
take 3 damage then?
You'll take no damage. Yeah.
No damage, yeah.
Awesome.
Only if you fail.
Yeah, and like the
So,
ground
and-
area is like becomes rough, like as the tremors kind of like shake it, and distort the earth. So the area around him is going to be difficult terrain.
Correct. And as he lands, and it's just this thunderous crack, and the ground sort of ripples and tosses Garrus prone. Tallo's just screaming in despair, drowning out even that crack.
Awesome. Yeah, Garrus falls down to the ground from the might of this earth shake. As he begins to try to work his way to his feet, but before he'll be able to, Igram, Garrus is on the ground in front of you.
Yeah, so I'd like to apologize. I didn't realize, or I forgot, I've been using a sword. I should be using a spear because my sword got destroyed by that demon guy. Thankfully all the damage rolls are the same. But yeah, so I have a spear in my hand, not a sword.
You also
Yeah,
picked
well,
up another sword
You
from.
picked up a couple of short swords from those bandits, so I think you grabbed one of those.
Okay,
so that's
sure,
what
never mind. Yeah, cool.
what I was guessing you did.
All right, never mind. I will take back my apology. I am totally in the right. See, I just got this sword and this like dagger, and just like my eyes are ink black. I see Garrus kind of topple to the ground after this tremor. But all that Igram sees is one of his companions from his life before just shove this woman carrying a basket of eggs and some breads and some cheeses to the ground as Igram just brings his blades up and just slices into her as I strike Garrus, now prone. I got
so we'll go with advantage.
Yeah, so I got a 18 to hit.
Yeah, with him being prone, I'm going to say that he's not able to use his shield, so you'll hit.
Awesome. I do a bunch of damage. I do 13 points of damage with my, and then my bonus action dagger is another attack roll. Oh gosh, getting a 24 to hit, and then it's gonna do a bunch of damage. It's gonna do 6 points of damage. So like, I just stand over this man. I'm just like hacking into him, like one hand after the other, just like blades pointed down, just slamming my fists into him essentially, on his back or on his side or whatever. Just not even making any noises, just silent and just staring almost unblinkingly as I just stab him multiple times.
Yeah, and after you hit him a couple times, kind of like knock your arms aside as he rises to his feet. He's going to begin sweeping in arcs, making an attack at each of you, Tallow and Igram. 2 on both of those, so I believe both will be hit.
Oh yeah.
Am I able to use cutting words once more?
I'm fine. Don't even worry about me.
No, for me.
I'm trying to use that when the
Use it as a reaction.
When the grunt attacked you. So you've gone since then.
Oh, sorry.
So, yes.
Yeah, I used my reaction.
It was on your turn. It was on your
reaction.
turn, so you've used your reaction this round.
Okay, so I can use it again.
You get 1 reaction per round.
Yep, and this is the same round, is it?
So you used it on your turn to avoid the opportunity attack.
I'm with you. My bad. Thank you. Save it for next.
No worries.
So yes, that definitely hits.
Alrighty. So, and as he brings his sword up to strike at you, Tallow, there's again a glow of this radiant light. As the blade cuts into you, you feel that same burning felt, burning that seems to burn not your body, but yourself within. You take, again, man, these damage rolls. Damage and 6 radiant damage. And then, oh, sorry, you're muted there.
Yeah, that's not quite enough to knock him out, but Tallow's going to drop to a knee. That took it right out of him.
And then Garrus will turn around, swinging a blow at Igrum. Is going to hit, so that's going to be 10 slashing and 4 radiant.
Yeah, so this blade is barely cuts into him, but this searing, like, radiant damage, it like makes a voice in Ingram's head kind of squeal. It feels like the weirdest thing as your insides burn instead of your flesh.
Alrighty, yeah. Garrus is just like grunting, just his sword kind of dropping down. He's used a lot of his energy in that blow. He's just like locking eyes with you, Igrum, just staring into those like inky black pits that were your eyes. Alrighty. Darian's bow clatters to the ground in front of you, Kira, as he draws out a blade. He's going to attempt to stab you with it. That's going to be a 17.
He hits.
Alrighty, that's going to be 7 slashing as he just brings this small blade up, just begins just cutting at you. All right, and assuming that does not, assuming you're still standing, so that will bring us to you, Kira. Then he cuts you in for 7. Splash
Great.
of blood, adding into all the other arrow wounds you've taken so far.
I'm cut up pretty bad, and I'll try as right after he slashes me, I'll try to kind of knock his blade back and take a few steps back again, trying to figure out what his next move is going to be, using my cunning action. Ooh, 10.
He rolled an 8, 5 on the die, so you will still
Nice.
succeed there. If your attack is successful, you will add your sneak attack.
Great. And now that I've assessed the situation, I'll lunge. 20.
Yes, that left me hit.
And for 15 damage.
Whew. Yeah, that'll get him super cut. Yeah, I imagine the rapier just stabs directly into him. He lets out a gasp and tries to
Puncturing
push
a
you
lung.
away. Yeah. Yeah, like his body kind of slumps under that force, but he is still standing, breathing heavily, severely wounded. Just locked eyes with you, with a grim determination.
It's the end of my action.
Alrighty. Let's back up top. Ignatius.
So that guy's still standing against Kira, right?
Actually, no, there's one more guard. Sorry, I missed that. The dweeby guardsman that's still standing is going to charge in at Tallow. Past him. but he gets a 3, so he'll miss. He's like still shaking in fear. As he tries to charge at you, but it's just like he's not able to steel himself enough to get in and then just
All right, so I'll make an orb of fire appear next to Darian, and he makes a dex save, 13.
he's going to fail that.
Perfect. So the sphere of fire forms and then explodes out, hitting him for a D8. Oh. For 7 damage.
That'll be enough actually.
Oh god, as the fire just blasts out kind of like an explosion. And he's just thrown off the building with it, as the fire like crackles around him, and his ash is caught in the wind.
Yeah, Kira, you just see this man that you've been locked with just suddenly just and he's just like gone. Like what was a person is now just like streams of ashes like flying through the air.
Damn you, Ignatius! That was my kill.
And Tallow, you have Garrus in front of you and a soldier who's approached from behind. That are around you. They're the only ones remaining.
He's down on one knee after that tremendous blow from Garrus, and he sort of just calls out, "You do realize you will not survive this day." And he cuts his hand with well, he's already bleeding actually, so he gets a bit of blood from his fresh wound, and makes a gesture with his hand as he says this, and as he casts Bane. And up to 3 creatures of my choice must make charisma saving throws, so DC 13 for both of those enemies. And if they fail, they must subtract a D4 from an attack roll or a saving throw within the next minute.
Yeah, Garrus will make the save, but just like with like this, almost just looking at like just trash. Says, "Your words mean nothing to me." To you though, out of your vision, but he keeps quivering more so than ever, like the fear of the situation of him as he falls under your spell.
Okay. And that was his action. So he'll use his moves, I suppose, to get to his feet and yeah, just stand his ground.
Perfect.
Agrim just again just focused on attacking and killing this member of the Iron Papacy, this commander and leader, just with these 2 blades in his hands, just going in and go at it essentially, just striking down Garrus with a multiple flurry of blows. The first hit is a critical hit. And
Awesome.
Jeff, does the bonus damage from that that lightning shadow ability, will it double from a critical hit? When I add 3 shadow points and get 1d8 bonus lightning damage?
Sure.
Awesome. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give myself 3 more shadow points and just channel my shadow into this strike with my sword. So I can get a whole bunch of dice here.
Yeah, tell me what that
Okay.
looks like too. As Egram for the first time will be like channeling this dark this force that's been welling up within him as he's gone on, falling in this almost disease that like brings his mind further and further down into himself with his lightning.
Yeah, Igram's mind is just an echoing a cacophony of this weird ominous whisper of just let it go, just end him, and it's just his eyes again like filled with this inky blackness, and this inkiness kind of just goes all throughout his body. The wounds that have formed from various strikes begin to ooze more of this black like pus. And he's just wreathed in just black. He's a solid black silhouette. Um, Little bits of like electricity and lightning kind of arc from the hairs on his head and on his beard as he just is like the ground around him, the whatever be around there, like little blades of grass or whatever, they just shrivel up around him, turning to dust as he just strikes deeply, the sword just crackling and humming with this black Icarus fluid. I'm gonna have to do a bunch of math here. It does a total of 9, 16, 18, 28, 33 points of damage.
Yeah, go for it.
And so just this I just come down with this sword, just this smaller blade that I've scavenged off a bandit from a while ago, and just cleanly decapitates this man. And like, it doesn't leave behind a clean cut. It's just this gross, oozing, pustulent a cut in its wake of this blade, as the flesh around the wound just festers and rots. As the blade passes through it, Igram kind of collapses to the ground, his hands and knees, whatever, wreathed in this black shadow, as he just kind of slumps to the ground, kind of near or even on top of the decapitated form of Garrus. And as the shadow retreats, it does so in a kind of a slow, dissipatingly kind of way, as it just kind of retreats back into the wounds in his body and into as he just kind of kneels on the ground, kind of panting.
Beautiful. Alrighty, and still one dweeby soldier left if you'd like to. I think you still have this action.
Igram's just gonna take his bonus action essentially just to take a breather after this
Fair
channeling
enough.
of Shadow. It's a lot. It was very expending of him.
Alrighty. Eris is now dead. Darian is now dead. The soldier is going to disengage and begin to run. Kira.
Hmm. You know, I really just don't think that Kira is one to hit a fleeing person. She's going to kind of pull out her bow, notch an arrow, maybe pull it back, but then just kind of look and see, make sure all of her friends are all right, and then just put it back and put the arrow back in the quiver.
Alrighty, so then just kind of breaking down a little bit out of initiative here. Is there anybody who is going to try to slam this guy as he runs?
So Ignatius is going to send a message to him. And so in his mind, he hears surrender right now or I'll burn you to ash like the rest.
brutal.
Yeah, he just like drops to his knees, like he just like throws his spear like a couple feet away from him and just waits.
And that's pretty much all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna like drop off the roof back onto the ground, kind of like falling as I
Alright.
hit the ground, and then standing back up, and I'll start to walk over. So if anyone else is gonna do something, this is the time.
Yeah, as soon
Anyone else does anything, we're going to roll out and we will get to the game right after a quick break. Like Meg, I have to go to the bathroom.
All right.
3-minute, 5-minute break, and then we'll finish it out from there.
what you eating there, buddy?
I feel kind of bad.
Because you're not going to share your chips.
We just straight up like even I feel like my character even is like, man, did I really have to like straight up kill all those people? It was like a little excessive.
Yeah. 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 If the Iron Papacy weren't here, it might have gone a bit differently. Igram might not have, well, probably wouldn't have just charged in to start slaughtering people.
Yeah, there's so much that could have gone better there than how it went.
Just about everything. Yeah. Oh man, it was good at least when the crowd
That's why I
dispersed.
was trying to stay like low key at the beginning.
Just casually walk up. Hello, fellows. What a lovely town you have here.
Yeah,
Igrum
oh, a
comes
hanging.
in.
That's pleasant.
Oh well, yeah, that didn't turn out well for anyone.
Yeah, now my shadow levels are all jacked up.
Oh, dude. Yeah, because yours go up a lot quicker, don't they? Because of the way your magic or your abilities work.
Yeah, because last time I felt like I wasn't gaining enough, so this time, anytime I spent a psi point, I'm gaining shadow.
What, one for
So,
one?
yeah, that's what I did this time.
Oh, dude.
I spent like 10 psi, so I went from like 10 shadow to 20 in that fight.
Oh man.
Alrighty, I'm back.
Yo.
Oh, I do have a question. Was that shadow sorceress? Was she evil? Quotes.
Why do you ask?
If a non-evil humanoid dies from this attack, so if she's evil, then it's a wash.
I guess we'll see, won't we?
Or you could just have it. You could just have it work however it's going to work in this setting.
Oh man.
Oh man, I need the link to that document again. I don't know if I have it saved.
Put it in the chat. Nope. He'll just drop it in the chat.
Ooh, are there more pages than there were before?
Maybe a little bit, but not too much.
Howdy.
Yo.
Welcome back.
Yep.
Welcome back, the one person who was not nearly dead, I'm guessing.
Yeah, like this battle's fine for me. Like, fine, you know, fine. It's like a little warm-up jog for me.
Right. Good thing the boss is coming soon.
Yeah, awesome, good. What a real challenge.
Fuck, that would suck.
Alrighty, well, it looks like everyone's back here, so if we're all set, we'll go ahead and get back into it. So, this last man who went for a sprint, yielding to Ignatius's mind message, has dropped down onto his knees, awaiting the judgment of the group. I imagine you guys like climb down from your various buildings, and kind of circle around this guy.
Well, Tallow himself, as soon as Garrus would have dropped, he would have scrambled his way over to Ton, and just sort of clutching and grieving Ton over there, not quietly. He won't be involved in any discussions with this last dude.
Yeah. And as Igrim emerged from his fugue, kind of like regains senses and kind of like looks at the carnage around him just these disemboweled corpses and this bloody sword in his hand, and the festering wound at the neck of this Garrus man. And he's just not even like astonished or confused, more like, more like a not again kind of thing. Kind of just looks at the carnage he's done and kind of, kicks the bodies or kind of pokes at them, looks at their weaponry that they had, sees if, if any semblance of better than his. But he's, very, very kind of like introspective and pensive. Yet again, that's the default mood for Egrim is pensive.
As Kira gets down off her building and then heads towards the guy who is dropped, she tries to kind of look reassuringly at any of the assuredly frightened townsfolk people. She's just gotta kind of, be like, "It's okay, we're not here to hurt you. We're just after them. It's all right."
Yeah, like you yell that, but like you don't see any people. They're all like scattered. They're like hiding inside their houses or like have bolted.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some. Go.
Yeah, so Ignatius is gonna walk over to this guy and ask him who he is, what the Iron Papacy was doing there. And I guess we'll start with that.
My name is Elric. I I was just one of the I was
What was that?
My name is Elric. I'm just one of the guards.
Guards, aren't you? Are you a member of the Iron Papacy?
Technically, I guess.
I see. What was it that brought you here? Were you sent?
I've always lived here.
How long have you been employed by the Iron Papacy?
Maybe a couple weeks.
Do you have a family here?
Yes. I worked as a guard for the papacy to make ends meet. It's a tough living out here lately, and anything that I can, you got to do what you got to do when times are.
Who's in charge around here for the Iron Papacy?
He points to the what used to be Garrus. Is now a headless mess of a body.
Oh, right.
Please, I was just trying to make ends meet. I didn't mean you any harm. I was just following orders.
It's fine. I don't plan to kill you. I can't speak for the others, though.
What are you going to do now?
Try to find some other way to get food, I guess. I'm not sure.
Are there any other members here, or are you the only one left?
I'm the only one. Ashton's not a huge place, and it doesn't take many of them. As he kind of like looks over towards like the bodies of Garrus and like the witch. Doesn't take many of them to wrangle a town like us. They bring in a lot of food, though, for all you can say about their beliefs.
Where do they bring it in from?
I don't know. One of their other towns, I guess.
It sounds like what you need to do, Elric, is become a farmer yourself and try to provide food, at least for your family, and if you have any more, sell it to the rest of the town.
You seen these lands?
Yeah, I don't know how you expect him to do that, Kira. The land probably won't hold the sow, and even if he does, what's he going to do? Not eat for a year while it grows?
All right, well, I just see there's a need, and if he's looking to have an honest profession, farming's the way to go. Take what you want
did.
from the take a year's pay from the guards. I'm sure Garrus has plenty of cash on him.
Yes, just loot the bodies of the dead. That's fine. Honest profession.
And as you
Says
say
the
that,
guy who incinerated half of them.
I didn't want to, but Talos said by any means. So I killed them. I killed 3 people today. Another 3. I'm not happy about it.
You seem unaffected.
I'm good at keeping it cool.
Kira definitely notices that, the shadow has kind of set in you and your, I don't know, smoky eyeshadow applied now.
And as this conversation is happening, Tallow, it's almost like you're listening to this through like a low pass filter, like in war movies where there's the bombs going off and you can hardly hear it. Like the sound is almost like getting quieter as like the voices just seem to drown out as you're there over Tan's body. Suddenly, you look up, almost as if directed. You see that none of your other party members are moving, almost as if time has stopped. And then a crow lands on the body of Tan, breaking the perfect stillness. You hear a voice. You can't tell if it's coming from within or from without. Young Tallow? Seems you've had quite a loss here today. Oh, unfortunate. What if I told you that for a low cost, a simple deal, you could brother back?
Who is this?
The one who can bring your brother back.
Will he be himself?
Of course.
Yes. Yes. Bring him back to me.
It's like there's not even a shift, and like you're somehow not surprised, but instead of a crow, there's a man. Green eyes. Look at you. You don't recognize the man, but you recognize eyes.
And he kind of says again, just thinking out loud, "Who are you?"
Hand out towards you. Says again. Friend back.
He grasps the hand. Bring him back.
As they go out, there's nobody in front of you. Only the other three of you would say that. Bring him back. And then a gasp.
Igrim hears this, hears Tallow say, "Bring him back," and he sees the man spring back to this pile of blood. Igrim just goes to confront Tallow, just poking a big, fat, meaty finger into his chest, just like jabbing him. "What the fuck did you just do?" Igrim would ask very confrontingly.
I've saved him. I've healed him. Look, Tom. And he's tapping his face, trying to wipe some blood out of his eyes and get him to open his eyes. Look, Igrim, I've saved him.
He looks up at Tallow? Is that you?
Tom. It's me. You're okay. You'll be all right.
You made it back. Gone. But
I'm sorry I left you. I don't know. We can explain later. But we're back together. It might just be the two of us now, but you're okay. You're alive. We're both alive.
and he kind of like feels down, like where some blood is still like running from the wound that he took. I thought that would have put me out for sure.
They tried. They tried. But you and I were the last children of dusk. We have to carry it on. We have to make sure that the rest of our brothers didn't die in vain.
What happened to them? You were trying to help some relic in the city. Never heard from any of you. But you're here. That means you would alive? Where did they go?
I don't know about the rest of them. I took a separate job and broke off. Was meant to be briefly. Igrim here gestures up to Igrim, who's been poking at him, been confronting him. And I don't know. I blacked out. We both did, and then wasn't sure where any of them were.
His like super short glimmer of hope fades back down into kind of a solemn look. I understand. They've been gone for long enough. I feared the worst, and I'm been ready to accept it. But you're here. You made it.
Yes, yes. And we have a new fate now, brother. We can find a new purpose. There's things that I've been learning. We can discuss this later.
Of course.
You must come with us.
Come with you where?
To find more answers.
Igrim would like interrupt. He'd say, "Bullshit! Find new answers, not cause more problems." And kind of like just give Tallow another shove, just super fumingly and confrontingly. What the fuck did you pay for this shit?
Pay? I didn't pay anything.
Bullshit!
Life is not given for free, Tallow. What did you do?
I had a vision. I saw a raven, a crow. I don't know.
What a bird gave this. Let this guy come back to life. A bird did it.
I can't explain it. Can you explain everything that happens to you?
Explain it better than a bird doing shit.
And at this point, Tallow's kind of looking around to see if he can see the bird, even though it was sort of in a vision state. He's looking around to see if he can see it hanging around.
Nope.
I've healed wounds before. I think that's what I did. I think the crow was maybe myself or a guide or something. Hell, maybe it was the doctor. Maybe he helped me.
Maybe it's the fucking demon that's been trailing me for the past. Who knows for how
Maybe
many
it's
years.
another one. Maybe it's another one, and they'll just make you two fight to the death.
Yeah, you know how that'll turn out. Kind of just like showing off these like pestilent wounds on his chest that are oozing black blood.
You're like, I mean, I know you're quite the man, but who knows what lies under Talow's skin now?
He'd like grab you by the collar and like start kind of like lifting you up off your feet.
And Tallow just kind of puts his hands up. Igrim, we're on the same side. Trust me.
How can I trust a man who lets another man come to life again? Who knows what you paid? I'm not going to let someone make the same mistake again. He's just like his attention is divided between like hoisting Ignatius off the ground and like yelling at his stupidity.
Oh, he hoisted Ignatius. Sorry, I thought it was Tallow he lifted up.
Well, maybe he just hoisted both
Yeah,
off the ground,
that's-
like one on each hand, just like.
Ignatius is still just kind of going to run his mouth while you've got him off the ground, not too worried.
Have a mind just to pummel your faces into the stone. These bellows kind of spraying from his mouth.
Hey, don't get mad at me. I didn't make a deal with anybody for these powers.
Well, fuck off! And he kind of just like tosses you and pushes you back. But you, little stone singer shit, get fuck out of my sight. And it kind of like
Guys,
bolts
calm
off.
down. Everybody, we need to get a plan. I'm sure they will be looking for these Iron Papacy people. We need to figure out what to do. Who
Or
are
we just
they?
ask the bird to solve all our problems.
Igrim, can you make a DC 13 Wisdom saving throw?
Oh, and this is how it starts.
With disadvantage because your
So I got a
shadow is
total
so
of
high.
4.
Okay. You are charmed by Tallow for an hour. So you regard him as a friendly acquaintance. But when the spell ends, you'll know that he's charmed you, so you'll be even more pissed. But and in casting this, he says, "Igrim, we're on the same side. Ton is alive. My family
You're right,
is alive.
Tallow.
Your family will be alive."
You're right, Tallow. Some things are just worth the price. It was smart of you. That was a smart move. I'm sorry I yelled at you. Hey, I saved some of that mushroom from earlier. Here, I'm not that hungry. He kind of hands you some of
Is
his
this where
food scraps.
is this where the act of Tallow casting some spell, like his new pact, comes back to bite him right now in this moment?
Well, it didn't quite put him over shadow threshold, so actually not. But
Patience.
Well, would Kira know that he cast a spell?
no, I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Spells are
I
kind
mean,
of like overt.
yeah. I mean, it would be pretty obvious because like he made some gestures and said some things, and then Ingram instantly sort of chilled out and drastically changed his tune. So, yeah, you'd
Tallow, you know he's not going to like that. Oh man, let's get going somewhere safe and get you two separated before he kills you.
I can take you to the city.
Sorry, you cut out.
Tan kind of jumps up and says, "I can take you to the old hideout under the city. You know the one, Tallow."
Let's go. He nods and sort of starts looking around, realizing people might start emerging from their hiding places, and yeah.
Yeah, let's go, Tallow.
Yeah.
Your companion, your friend here, your brother. He's really trustworthy, isn't he? Come on, let's go. Pal of mine. Kind of claps you on the shoulder in a kind of a friendly way. But I think you might flinch at first because he's been very aggressive in these past few moments. As he just raises his arm and just like claps you on the shoulder in a friendly fashion.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we have a drink together when this is all said and done.
Let's do it. Let's plan how we're going to find your family next. If Tom's alive, then there's a chance they're alive.
No, honestly, Tallow, my family is not important at all compared to you just having a good time and just rejoining with your brothers. It's good to see you reconnect with your past.
Just hurry up. And before we leave, though, Kira definitely wants to try to check the decapitated body and see if there's any like communications on him, any like notes or I don't know, just in general information he might have. Symbols.
Yeah, so I mean, there would be like his longsword and shield. His like uniform has like the city Iron Papacy on it, but he doesn't carry much else.
No orders or anything.
So Ignatius speaks up and hits you with the, so does it feel respectable?
I was just checking to see if he had orders. Perhaps we could see where the shipments were coming from of food. I'd just like to gather intel, not burn people to the crisp.
You got me there.
Let's get going.
So yeah, Ton would like take you guys. Tallow, you'd be able to lead the way just as well. I'd imagine, like under one of these like dried up river beds, built in, through one of the sides, kind of leads through this like work. It's like just this like carved out, not anything like immaculate, just like dug out cavern underneath the city. Like between the five of you, it's like, but you know, you guys take up like a decent amount of space.
And when we get inside, Tallow pulls out his little pet mouse and hands it to Ton. And Ton recognizes it and starts, just sitting down, resting a bit, playing with the mouse. While Tallow starts sort of pulling bits and pieces around for seating for everybody, like a bit of a rock for one person, and a little ledge that's been roughly cut out of the wall for another, things like that.
Oh, Tallow, that's a beautiful mouse. Where do you find that? That fur is so sleek and brown and shiny. Beautiful, beautiful mouse.
Tallow's kind of looking at Igram like partially regretting what he's done. This is just all a bit odd, but he plays along, trying to make the most of it before the hour is up and Igram knows that he charmed him. So yeah, she's a beautiful, her name's Rose. She was like me, struggling on the street, and we've been taking care of each other.
A beautiful name for such a beautiful owner. And like holds you on your shoulder. He's looking into your eyes.
Would you like to hold her?
Oh, would I ever?
And Tallow gestures to Ton, who holds her out for Igram to take in his hand. In his huge hand with a tiny mouse.
Hold this mouse and just like hold the mouse in one hand, and just like gently stroking the head and the fur and down the tail with my other hand. It's like it's really neat. It's a curious thing. Looking at something so small, and just knowing that it survives against all odds. It has no strength behind its teeth, yet it lives on. It reminds me a lot of you, Tallow.
It lives on because it knows there's strength in numbers, in friendship, in companionship. Just like me, as you say.
I'm glad to be your friend, Tallow, your companion.
Jeez.
I'll always remember that.
Just kind of snicker across the alcove.
He tries to plant a little seed saying, I'll always remember that, Igram.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've been talking too much. No, it's about you. Here, you can have your rose back. But tell me, do you remember what your mom was like? You never talked about your mom much.
He kind of goes a bit quieter, but he says, I never knew my mother. She died when I was very young. And it's just been me, and I met Ton, and I had my sister with us before she up and left and abandoned us. You know, some people just don't know. And he side glances at Ignatius as he says this. Some people just don't appreciate the true value of companionship and
Yeah,
sticking
and some
together.
people have to force it on others.
No, I totally understand you, Tallow. Like, family's really important. I have or had or have a beautiful wife and a beautiful daughter. Just the most lovely thing. Just a light in the darkness of the world.
There's nothing
There's
more precious,
silence.
is there?
The things
And
I
I'm
do
not, I
to
will not.
put food on their plates. The heads I'd smash.
Well,
The people I'd murder.
he
A man will do a lot to keep his family safe.
will at that, and you will see them again. I know it. And Tallow thinks back to when they were just after the confrontation with that demon in the old city, when him and Kira made that little pact, and they both sort of at the same time went to make the same sort of secret handshake thing, and he thinks back to that. It sort of slipped his mind, but now that they're back in Ashton, he and he's back with Ton, and all of the everything's sort of flooding back to him about what happened before he left. He looks back to Kira and sort of says questioningly, "Were you from? Did you grow up around this area?"
Yes, I did. I grew up here until, as a girl, my mother died, and I lived with my brother and his friend. But I don't remember that much. I can't remember what his friend's name. I think it was Tim. But I was taken as a slave to live in the other city, and I haven't been back here since. But this place does seem rather familiar. Say, Tallow, I know this might be crazy, but you're almost the right age. I didn't know you had a sister. Was how did she just leave? I can't believe a sister would leave a brother.
Well, I was young, but we had a big fight because it was tough living like we were, and then she just never came home. I figured she abandoned me. Figured she's long since died. Oh, what are you saying? How old were you when you left here?
About 8. How old were you when your sister left?
4 or 5. And you didn't know your mother?
I knew her. She died when I was about 6, and I had to raise my brother. Tallow, come here. Come here. She rushes over to you and pulls up the back of your shirt and looking for that birthmark that she knows is going to be there.
A birthmark, which if Tally had it, he wouldn't be aware because you can't look at your own back when there's no mirrors. He's never had any need to, so he just kind of doesn't know what you're doing, but he lets it happen.
She pushes the shirt down and spins you around, tears in her eyes. Tallow, it's you. You are my little brother.
What? How do you know? How can you be sure?
I've washed your back millions of times. I would recognize that birthmark anywhere. I
And
did
Tallow
not call you Tallow, though.
What was my name? He says, sort of giving into this idea.
Your name. Well, Darius. No, fuck. Well, we would all just call you Smiles.
He put
I
his
suppose I
real
would have been a
chat
baby. Sorry?
name in the chat.
Oh my gosh. Ezra. We called you Ezra. I'm sorry. Shit.
It's all right. He would have been a baby anyway. He wouldn't have known. Oh my god. So, what are you saying? Are you my sister?
Yes, Ezra, it's me.
And he just embraces you, and just pulls Ton over as well. He's just all completely overwhelmed with all of these bizarre reunions. I thought I knew
The
you.
this reunion is suddenly interrupted by a shriek. A woman just screams out, "Ah! Monsters! Help!"
Taylor's attention just darts to the doorway.
Oh man. Did this whole thing count as a short rest? Question mark.
Sure, I'll give you that one. Yeah, if you guys want to real quick, if
And
you
I
have
got
hit dice, you can roll them.
And I got a 1 and a 3.
All right, Tallow friendo man, what do you say we do at this sudden outburst?
Uh,
We hide and leave her to her fate, right?
he looks over. That's not what we do. But he very gingerly peeks out the front. Pretty clear that he's real beat up and would prefer that there wasn't such a disruption, potentially life-threatening. He's around. Is he able to see anything?
Yeah, Ignatius
So you
will
have to,
follow
like-
and take a look out too.
Yeah, as you guys like climb out of this den and like back up the riverbank, you see like up in the plaza a couple more bodies on the ground, dead townspeople, and standing over them is a shadowy form in the shape of Igram.
Tello sort of buckles and clambers back inside and just puts his back against the wall and he's just breathing heavily.
What was it, dear?
So good. It was you, Igram.
Don't be so silly. I'm right here. Silly mouse.
No,
What
really.
was it? Don't be goofing around. What was it up there? He has this like really like almost a forced smile on his face, just like these cheery eyes. Come on, don't joke around.
Teller just gestures to him to come over and have a look. No idea how he's going to react when he sees it.
Ingram is just way too charmed to really have a proper reaction to it. Well, that's nice, Tallow. Good job finding that. He just says really hollowly.
And I think that's when the charm is going to end. The session is going to end.
Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
Oh god. Such a good session.
Oh no.
Alchemist
Dungeons and
Part 4.
Consequences,
Ingram
baby.
murders everyone.
Like, I knew it would happen. I gave Jeff just this like burning grenade. But I just didn't really. And I thought it'd be more manageable. You know, I was like, oh, it won't be that bad.
Oh. Oh well.
Game
See
over.
how we go.
There we go. We got a nice double cliffhanger time. We got Shaq coming
Oh.
up from the dead and a charming Igram about to occur simultaneously.
Oh man, Connor, Charmed Igram is amazing. So good. Such a good job. Oh my gosh. Oh man.
Well, this is fun.
Everyone's gonna
Very
blame
fun.
this on me too. I know it's coming.
It's almost as if you caused it.
Whoa, I asked Tallow. Any means necessary. Did you see that fight? That was necessary.
Oh man.
I had
Alrighty,
no
well,
idea.
I'm gonna go ahead
Well,
and end the broadcast
yeah.
here. People who are watching, so thank you for that. Hopefully, it was enjoyable. And we will catch you guys on the next one.